Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So I am preserving pears again today, and I am making a cinnamon pear jam. So I've got 4 cups of pears that have been peeled, cored, and diced. I'm adding in 1/3 cup of lemon juice. Alright, I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. Now for the sugar, I'm going to need a lot, 7½ cups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a half. Alright, so we're going to turn on the stove. And now we're going to bring all of this up to a gentle boil. We're going to let the pears cook. We're going to let the sugar melt. And then once this has come to a boil, we will add in the next ingredients. Alright, so this is getting nice and hot. I'm going to go ahead and add in about a half a teaspoon of butter. And what that'll do is help prevent a ton of foaming. Now, foaming doesn't really harm your jelly or jams, but it's not considered high quality. You don't want a foamy top in your jelly jars. So we're just going to continue stirring this, continue heating this up until it comes to a full rolling boil, and we can't stir it and make it stop boiling. We've got a nice hard boil happening here. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in my pectin. This recipe calls for liquid pectin. Alright, so now we're just going to keep stirring and let this come back up to a full rolling boil. Once it reaches this point, we will start our timer, and you definitely want to make sure you are stirring the whole time. You do not want this to boil over. This is going to hard boil for 1 full minute, and then we will test it to make sure it has gelled. Alright, so I'm going to turn off the heat. And I've got a spoon here from my freezer. I always keep some in there. And we're just going to get a little bit of the liquid, drip that on there, and see if we are gelling. And it's still a little thin, so we're going to turn the heat back on, and we're going to let it boil for just a little bit longer. Alright, turn the heat off again. Stir, keep on stirring until it settles down a little bit. another spoon from the freezer. Oh yeah, now it's gelled. Alright, so I've had my jars over here heating up in the steam canner. These are 8-ounce jars. And generally this calls for a 1/4 of an inch of headspace, which is the distance from the top of the food to the top of the jar. However, kind of like apples, pears have a tendency to kind of seep. So I like to be a little bit generous when I'm giving the headspace. And I'm going to do closer to a 1/2 inch of headspace. I just think, personally, think it works a little bit better. So, removing air bubbles. Wipe down the jar with some white vinegar. Always important when you're using, when you're canning something sticky. Hot lid. Put on a ring and into the jar. Into the canner, I should say, into the jar. Jar into the canner. Alright, and we will do this until we are out of jam. Alright, so I've got 8 jars, 1/2 pint jars, going into my canner here, or in my canner here. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on. We're going to let this start really heating up. And if you are processing in a steam canner or in a hot water bath canner, the processing time is 10 minutes. So full rolling boil in your hot water bath canner or up to temperature in your steam canner. Then you set your timer for 10 minutes, let it process, turn off the heat, let it sit for about 5 minutes, then go ahead and remove the jars and let them cool in a draft-free location. At least about 8 to 10 hours. I usually let it go overnight. And say hi. Say hi. Oh, do you hear that? That was a jar. You want Veggie Tales? Oh!